cloudy with a low of 33. Discover the amazing roast beef sandwiches and so much more at Mavericks Real Roast Beef in Roseville. Mavericks is located 1 mile south of Highway 36 on Lexington Avenue. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. In the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, and in the nighttime hours on 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Monday. Good to have you with us today. Guest free for the full 2 hours. Good to have you by our side, Matt and Patrick today. Patrick, how are you? Did you have a nice weekend? Was it good?
I actually did have a very good weekend. I went down to St. Peter, which is about an hour plus southwest of the Twin Cities, for a hockey tournament over the weekend. It was a very nice time. Had a nice German dinner over in the city called New Ulm a little later after that. So it was a good Saturday, good weekend.
I like towns like that because I was stationed in Germany when I was in the military, and I've gone to New Ulm a few times, and that German food is pretty close, man. Mm-hmm. That German food is pretty close. And there's nothing better than having, potato balls served to you by a woman who's smoking. I mean, that's home right there. I had to get together. Of course, in the Twin Cities, where we are located at right now, we broke. I mean, it was a brutally cold few days. And, or as my 1980s self would say, winter. I mean, it hasn't been like that. So we had quite a few cold days. And now this weekend, we broke the back. I think Saturday we were 41 degrees. We're 50-something yesterday. It was spectacular. And it is always funny. And Chicago gets this, Seattle gets this to a point. It is always funny when you're in fall and it hits 50 degrees. Then it's always like, oh my gosh, it's so cold. And it was like, I'm walking outside with a t-shirt. It's hitting 50s now. Look at just a t-shirt, just a t-shirt, no pants, no nothing else. Just there you go. There goes Matt. It's time for another restraining order. No, I was just, I was sweating just in a sweatshirt, and I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. It is the perspective of the time of year that you get.
Yep. I think I rolled down my window in the car a couple days ago because it was getting too warm.
There was a guy, I drove down the highway. There was some guy, okay, I think the air temperature at the time I saw this was like -8 degrees. That was the air temperature, not the wind chill, the air temperature. And there's a guy running down the highway with his window down. I'm like, is it okay? Are you carrying gas in the car, or do you have really bad gas? I don't know. Even a pet wouldn't want that. So I am glad it's warming up here. I hope you had a nice weekend no matter what you're doing. 952-946-6205. I did have an interesting conversation with a friend this weekend about change and how things have changed. And what brought about the conversation was the idea of, we got into discussion. I don't know what was like where you were at. Every year, beginning of the year, I work out at a YMCA, and at the beginning of the year, it is chaos in these places until this year. And in this year, there was hardly anyone there. And once again, I go to the Y at the same time I always have in the mornings. So the chaos I was seeing was at the time I still going. And there was a few days, I mean, I remember I took a picture like on the 10th of January. I walked in and there was nobody in the gym. And I'm like, this is crazy. What happened to all the New Year's resolution people? And this friend of mine, he brought up an interesting one. He goes, well, we've gotten to a point now where you can just take an injection and you just don't have to work out. Although every doctor will say, this is not a where-all, end-all. This is part of a healthy lifestyle you need to have, which includes exercise and eating right and sort of thing. But we have created a drug and a series of drugs, some of it unintentionally, that are, weight loss drugs. And people take them and they look great and they're happy and they're fine. I'm not one of them. I don't. I'll just go work out and I'll try to eat healthy. Although I did freebase some, mustard flavored pretzels today. They were delicious. but I get what he's saying, but it got into a larger discussion about how things have changed just in our lifetime. Now, we all are just a snapshot of our age. I was born in 68, so I have lived for this 56 years in this stretch, and I've seen the world change in this 56 years. And I'm not breaking any news. That's just kind of how it is. That's what happens in regards to time. I wasn't around in the 1880s, but there were plenty of people that saw, airplanes came about, and people before that saw trains cross the country, and it was magnificent. I couldn't believe this. Just in the idea of exercise, I saw the rise of it. I mean, when I was a kid, it was like Rocky Balboa. I mean, you're going to a meat locker to punch a carcass, or you're going to a boxing ring. It wasn't until the Nautilus machines were invented, and all of a sudden you started getting, kind of workout classes and Jane Fonda and all these things. Things changed almost overnight. And, and now here we are at a point where, many people, not everybody, but a lot of people just, they're taking an injection, and that's how they maintain their weight. They don't really exercise. They don't run. They don't do much else. They may or may not be, really watching what they eat. And this stretch is just a really weird part of history. And what this eventually ended up, this discussion and eventually ended up doing, was we started talking about all the things that had changed. I mean, we don't understand today. I mean, my oldest son was born in 2001. So basically, he's lived in a very different timeline than I have. He's always had entertainment at his fingertips, no matter what, every TV show, every movie. And if he doesn't have it, it's not worth watching, that sort of thing. I remember when we felt like that when we had video and DVD stores, VHS stores, and we'd go to Video Update or a Blockbuster, and we'd go get a video or DVD. And I said, think about that. It still required us to get in a car, go to a store, get out of the store, go into the store, get out of the car, go into the store, and browse to find the movie that you wanted to get, and then take it home. That sounds like we're digging up pyramids at this point. Now what we're seeing, how about that's entertainment. How about delivery? I mean, I know there's a lot of people that go out to restaurants, and the cities I'm talking to right now, in Seattle and Chicago, Minneapolis, St. Paul, fantastic food towns. I love going there because the food there is delicious, and I love going out to the restaurants. But you can't deny there's a lot of people who are getting food, and whereas older people might sit here and kind of go, "Oh, back in my day, whippersnapper." The reality is, back in their day, they dreamed of going and getting a perfectly cooked steak from the best steakhouse in town delivered to your house, so you didn't have to go there. I mean, that's kind of one of those things. We have just changed. And it's going to be interesting to think about where we're going to be in another 20, 25 years. Now, granted, if we all survive Trump, I think that is, and that is something that has to be weighed into any scenario now. You have to, if you're thinking about the future, you have to weigh in the fact that, we definitely are probably not going to have the same kind of country we did, when Trump is gone. We'll probably have a very different type of country. But yeah, where are we going to be? And I mean, will people work out? Will people care? I mean, we have all these people that say, well, you need to go exercise. Do you? And I don't mean to be really flippant with it. I don't mean to be kind of insultive or anything like that. But do we really need to go work out? I mean, we've got a situation where a lot of people live at home. You have medicine now that extends your life. You can take an injection and be physically, be in, relatively low body mass. You can have any food you want delivered to your house. You can have the entertainment of your dreams dropped at your house. It is amazing what we have, and it would not surprise me if fitness goes away. As a matter of fact, one of the things, and I've talked about this before on the show, the rise of AI. You think like Netflix is addictive? Wait till you get a guy who basically has a completely and totally almost complete AI girlfriend / wife, where, yes, there's no physical relationship, but they are there with them every morning. They are there with them in the afternoons, kind of like Joy from Blade Runner. You know, it just a person that when you're in the house, they are there and they are your constant companion and they are giving you positivity and they're giving you, that will seem like that will be a completely different world. And as a matter of fact, it got us into a discussion of, I can imagine in 25, 30 years, one of the big fields of law will be AI relationship law. Because just think about this for a second. So you're a kid and your father passes away. Your mother, they got divorced or she passed away a long time ago. And he was on his own for 20, 25 years. And you go and they say, oh, by the way, the house is no longer in your family's name. The cars are no longer, all the investments, because this guy got married to an AI wife online. As a 70-year-old guy, he was dating and ogling some computer-generated woman, and they are allowed to legally get married, and in doing so, he handed basically all of his worldly possessions to the company that created the AI after his death. That's coming. I mean, as much as I say that, it's like, wow, that is a weird thing. That is coming. I've always said the whole thing with AI, the reason what they're trying to do is they're trying to find ways to make money. They have looked at this online modeling, home modeling industry, which a lot of women and men have made a lot of money doing at-home modeling, and they are going to take every dime away from them. And then they're going to look at the people that buy the AI images, and they're going to look at how can I get every dime away from them. This is coming. I say this because this is, to a point, it's terrifying. To a point, it's going to be interesting. But living in this 56 years, it is going to end up being one of the most culturally shifting, significant lifetimes, generations we have seen, to have gone from an existence where it wasn't online and it wasn't delivered and it wasn't constantly there and it wasn't injected, to a world where basically everything is brought to you wherever you want to and you never have to leave your own place. Crazy, man. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Is your remote workforce putting your company at risk? Cyber criminals are targeting your employees with COVID-19 inspired emails and attacking businesses like yours. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. Rymark has the tools and expertise to enable your employees to work securely from home. If you need help getting your staff to work remotely and securely, call 651-328-8900 or go to rymarkit.com. That's 651-328-8900 or rymarkit.com.
Do you have a vehicle you no longer need? Are you a little cash strapped? Rudy Luther Toyota will pay you for your used vehicle. It's really simple. Head to rudyluthertoyota.com, answer a few simple questions, and Rudy Luther Toyota will get you an instant offer. Then they will set up an appointment, and after a quick verification, they will handle all the paperwork and coordinate getting you your check. It's that simple. It's a fast way for you to get rid of the vehicle you no longer need, putting money in your hands. For more information, head to rudyluthertoyota.com. That's rudyluthertoyota.com.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Hey, it's Patrick. February is the month for love, so when was the last time you gave your carpet the love and attention it deserves? Have you gotten down on your hands and knees and adored how clean and refreshed it was, or are you scared of what you might see or smell? Not only is your carpet one of the biggest investments in your home, but it's also the biggest air filter in your home. If your carpet hasn't been professionally cleaned, you are breathing unhealthy levels of nasty dirt, dander, bacteria, and germs that keep recirculating again and again and again. If you've put off having your carpets cleaned after the holidays, Zero Res has the deal for you right now. 3 rooms starting at just $109. This flash sale will only last a limited time. That's 3 rooms starting at $109 right now. One more time, that's 3 rooms starting at $109, but you need to call now because this deal won't last long. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
In these challenging times under the second Trump administration, reading can be a powerful tool to manage stress and anxiety, and Next Chapter booksellers can help. Their newest table features books designed to channel anxiety into meaningful action. From Noam Chomsky to Henry David Thoreau, it's a collection that invites you to reflect, learn, and take action during chaotic times. Explore the full list of titles at nextchapterbooksellers.com. That's Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grant, here to help keep your sanity.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. I'll give you another great example of this. The Yahoo. I just had Yahoo Mail. They just did an update on it. I don't know who did this update, but as a person that uses email a lot to obviously prep the show, produce the show, sign up interviews and stuff like that, it is clearly the update was done by somebody who doesn't use email and thinks email is some sort of long form texting, and it's garbage. It's just absolute garbage. I mean, I can't even pull up folders or anything like that without having to go through a specific process. Like, okay, come on. And I get it. You know, hey, dude, man, I've abbreviated my social security number to 3 numbers. You know, okay, good for you. Good luck with all that. That being said, we still have a world that operates in different manners. Okay, we have other people that do things in a different way. So yeah, I'm not. It is interesting to see the way things have changed. Like I said, the rise of fitness, the peak of fitness, and now I need an injection, and that's it. And fitness seems to be going away. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I am not a medical professional, but I would say this: anything you're doing should involve some level of exercise or physical activity, as well as also a reasonably healthy diet. If you're chugging back the Mountain Dews and a carton of cheese balls, I don't think that's part of the food pyramid. You know, it's the food donut maybe, but not the food pyramid. 952-946-6205. Trump named bombastic MAGA podcaster star Dan Bongino as deputy FBI director. The role, it doesn't require Senate confirmation and typically goes to a senior agent. With Trump loyalist Kash Patel confirmed as FBI director, the Bureau can function effectively as Trump's private security force. We'll talk about that. According to the appointment on Truth Social last night, Trump said Patel will be the best ever director. And he said to Bongino, working with our great new United States Attorney General Pam Bondi and director of Patel, fairness, justice, law, and order will be brought back to America and quickly. I'll get back to that. Bongino served in the NYPD before joining the Secret Service and worked in Presidential Protective Division during the administrations of George W. Bush and Barack Obama. The FBI Agents Association wanted an active duty agent as deputy so the pick could intensify mistrust among the rank and file. Bongino ran for U.S. Senate seat in 2012, 2 congressional seats after that. He lost all 3. This is a guy that couldn't get elected to save his caboose, and he now has a senior position within the FBI. Talking in 2018 about the confirmation battle for Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, Bongino said, my entire life right now is about owning the libs. In 2022, he was banned from the YouTube after being suspended for violating the platform's COVID-19 and misinformation policy. Yeah, you should be concerned about what's going on at the FBI, because I want to talk about Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, Pash Patel. Not Patino, to Kash Patel and Bongo Boy here, Dan Bongino. They are going to wake up every day in charge of the FBI. And people are going to come into their offices. Sir, looks like we might have some missing children in the southeastern United States. Pass. Hey, sir, we've got a drug trafficking ring that's operating in the western United States. Please, could care less. Hey, sir, we might have a serial killer running loose in Wyoming. Boring. And they're going to look at these people and say, we want to know who's talked bad about Donald Trump and how we can destroy them. That is what they're going to do. That. They are not going to have neither one of these guys. I mean, again, the FBI, let's just talk about missing person cases or serial killers. These two guys, maybe they watch some Dateline NBC. Maybe, probably not NBC, though. They have zero experience conducting manhunts, conducting searches, conducting any of this. Why would you ever put these people in charge of something like this? The FBI being involved in missing person cases or something like this. They think it's, if they actually do focus on this, the first thing they're going to say is, we're searching all the local drag queens first and foremost, without any evidence that anything like that actually happened. These are the worst people to be in charge. And I can tell you right now, one group of people who love this are criminals, because the criminals are going to get a pass. And it's time to bring up the whole point about how they're going to do these. I mean, putting aside these two clown cars, blatant, agenda against the anyone that's not MAGA, particularly any Democrats. Putting aside that, we have had an epidemic of crises in this country that get ignored because MAGA only wants certain types of people to be the villains. I'll give you a great example of it. Their fascination with every child crime being conducted by someone who's transgender or a drag queen or LGBTQ, which is just not true. But this is the made-up story that they have created in their mind to turn themselves into the hero of their story. That my hatred towards drag queens or transgender people or the LGBTQ isn't just outright bigotry. They're out there committing crimes and I'm trying to stop it. First, it's going to be winning an NCAA 5th place trophy. The next thing you know, it's a child smuggling ring. This is the narrative they pass off for themselves to turn themselves into the hero of their own story. Meanwhile, in their communities, there are white, male, straight Christians who are out violating kids. And it's pretty obvious something wrong is going on. And they do not see it because these are not the villains they have already scripted for their narrative. It is truly horrible, but it is consistent. The amount of right-wing MAGA Republican child pedophiles who are running around this country who are able to commit their crimes in front of people because they say, hey, I see you jamming a kid into your car. Did you see any drag queens around here? We're looking for troubles. That is who these people are. These guys are not going to go out and try to find the bad guys. They are going to go out there and say, well, the bad guys are these people, so let me find those people. I mean, I talked with Chris Cluey last week, and we were talking about the fact that this mimics the rise of fascism in a lot of other countries, because now you have the people, no one within the FBI is actually going to be going after criminals as we knew it before. It is now only going to be, we're going after the people we want to believe are villains. And that is somewhat scary, man. That's not somewhat scary. That is terrifying. And They will make up any lie. They will make up any charge. They will make up anything to vilify the people they want to be vilified. Meanwhile, chaos is going to run on the streets as long as it's a white guy committing the crimes. And that's Trump's America, man. That's Trump's America. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
I don't know about you, but I feel good.
Hey, Minnesota, it's your favorite sexy liberal. Join me and my fellow cohorts in liberal justice weekdays from 8 to 11 on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Minnesotans are hardy. We don't let snow or ice get in our way. We have places to go. So making sure your vehicle is in prime shape for winter driving is so important. Take your vehicle to Rudy Luther Toyota for all your service needs. I was just there. I got my oil and filters replaced, and they did a complete safety check to make sure my vehicle can tackle winter. And they service all makes and models of vehicles. Head to rudyluthertoyota.com and use their super easy Toyota service schedule to set up your service appointment today. Rudy Luther Toyota on the southeast corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Returning Saturday, March 1st, right here on AM 950, and every Saturday, March through October, it's Garden Talk Radio from 7 to 8 a.m. It's the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show, topic focused, guests from across the country, and answering your garden questions. Submit your questions now to gardentalkradio@gmail.com or call anytime to 1-800-927-SHOW. That's every Saturday morning, March through October, from 7 to 8 a.m., right here on AM 950.
Experience a brand new musical bursting with imagination and surprises. In Milo Imagines the World, a wildly creative young boy spends his time on a crowded train car, imagining the lives of the passengers around him, and sees his dreams come to vivid life in the form of vibrant songs and energetic dance numbers, with tunes ranging from pop to hip-hop to country. You won't want to miss this stunning new production that the Chicago Reader called an absolute delight. Milo Imagines the World is on stage at Children's Theater Company through March 9th. Get your tickets today at childrenstheater.org.
Hello, everyone. I am Becky McNatt, along with Tara Martini, host of Feels Out Loud, brought to you by Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. This Sunday, tune in as we talk through the 5 languages of anger and how these show up in relationships.
And if you have a question about anger, visit our website at www.becomingtogethermn.com or email us at contact@becomingtogethermn.com. We may share your questions on the show, so join us at 9 a.m. to live and share mental health together.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
This is AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Sunshine today with a high of 53, then tonight partly cloudy with a low of 33. Discover the amazing roast beef sandwiches and so much more at Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville. Maverick's is located 1 mile south of Highway 36 on Lexington Avenue. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Broadcasting in the evenings in Chicago on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, in the nighttime hours in the Emerald City of Seattle, 1150 a.m. KKNW, and of course in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. I want to preface this next talk set here with just something that we need to accept and we need to understand and just go into 2026 already knowing. As bad as things are, I mean, if we have an election, and that's a big freaking if. That is a big freaking if. If we have an election, it is going to be far closer than we want to acknowledge it's going to be. That once we get done with this year, 2025, and we see this smoking carcass of this country, a lot of people on the left are like, well, this is over. It ain't over. Not only will, like I said, if we have an election, will we have an election where they have already put together, once again, reminder, Republicans, when they are not in power, it's always states' rights. But now they're in power. It's federal government is the complete and total authority. You can't question that. It's the same thing. It's just they try to play the system. And frankly, the dumbass Democrats go there. They did it again. I don't know. The first 20 or so times I would have picked up on it, but that's just me. But this is going to be closer than you want to even imagine. And I will tell you why in just a little bit. From our good friends at Heartland Signal down in Chicago. If you're not reading Heartland Signal, they are fantastic. You should be reading them every single day. U.S. Representative Marinette Miller Meeks has seemingly gone back on her previous support for university research funding in her state that's being threatened by Elon Musk's Doge department. Miller Meeks joined the New Government Efficiency Caucus last month, claiming she was thrilled to tackle ongoing waste and fraud. Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are successful businessmen who will bring a fresh set of eyes to make government more efficient and effective. I look forward to working with them, said Miller Meeks. Now, I want to remind everyone of why this is such a freaking garbage argument. Is that even if you had good business people like Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, which they're not, even if those two clown cars were good at business, it's not a business. There's not a profit margin. This is not a business. And you sometimes do things like making sure there is someone at Yosemite that has a key to unlock all the bathrooms so people don't get locked in there, not because it's cost effective, but because, you don't want to have to call the police to get someone out of a bathroom. Just me. So basically, this is, once again, we need to bring corporate eyes. And once again, take a look at Elon Musk's stock. I mean, it is plummeted. This is a guy. I don't need to go. Let's forget about the stock for a second. He bought Twitter for $44 billion. It's worth now somewhere between $7 and $9 billion, meaning, well, let's grab Matt's math corner here. Let's just grab the old calculator out and see what that is. Let's go with 8 billion just to be fair there. Divided by 44, it means it's worth 18% of what it was when he bought it 2 years ago. Successful businessman. And Tesla sales. He built the Cybertruck. The second they rolled that off an assembly line and put cameras in front of it, everyone should have gone, oh my God, he's crazy. Nope. Miller Meeks is like, that's the guy I want in charge of deciding who gets to know whose healthcare information is passed on to the dark web. Yeah, there you go. Earlier this month, the Doge and Trump's administration announced a $4 billion cut to funding provided through the National Institute of Health, which reportedly equates to 11% of the department's 2023 budget. If enacted, these cuts would slash funding for vital medical research, including the University of Iowa, which is located in Miller Meeks District. A reminder, once again, this is not a business. You should not be running it as a business, because you should be looking at things like, well, there's a vested interest in us trying to find a quick and effective vaccine for, say, avian flu, which seems to be going out of control. And so getting the best and brightest minds in the country in the university system to do research to try to find a good vaccine, well, maybe that's a really good idea. But if it's a business side, they're only saying, well, is it cost effective? Maybe. They might not find a cure. Well, then let's just cut the whole department and just call it a wash. See, Republican politics is that. Republican politics is, no matter the benefit to society, if they feel as if there isn't a benefit to the American people, they will cut the program regardless of how many people they have just hurt. Democrats on the other side, to a point, they've got some issues too, but at least their whole plan is saying, and this is one of the reasons I vote Democrat, is, if you've got a hungry person, just give them a damn sandwich. We'll figure out how they got hungry later, but let's feed them. They don't sit there and say, well, out of the 100 people we gave a sandwich to, one of them people had some food back home. Henceforth, none of them get food. The Christian right. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, University of Iowa received over $190 million in NIH funding last year. Although the cuts have been temporarily paused by a federal judge, University of Iowa could lose an estimated $33 million in funding. UI Healthcare reportedly has over 1,000 active clinical research and trial studies that could be impacted. You know, cancer, stuff like that. But not Miller Meeks. Kill it! Kill it! That's Miller Meeks. Including 459 focused on cancer research. There you go. The NIH also announced a 50% cap on existing grants, prompting IU to pause new grant applications and stop hiring new research assistants. I guess we won't try to stop avian flu. We can't let them all. We can't beat goalie and stop all the shots. Yeah, I guess. Miller Meeks did not immediately respond to a request for comment in the article, but she dismissed comments about the NIH's cuts on Twitter, doubling down on the claim that the Trump administration and Musk are simply eliminating waste. And once again, they keep saying they're eliminating waste, but yet not a single one of them has brought forth an example of the waste that they are saying is needing to get wiped out. Unless it's like that whole thing where there was on a computer system, because no one was purging the computer system, there were people who died a while back that were on the computer system, and they said, see, this is proof they're getting money, but it wasn't. It just was there were people in the computer system who were older who weren't getting money, but they said they were because reasons. They have not produced evidence of massive waste. They just have been cut. And you see, this is part of the problem. If there is waste, sure, make some cuts. But they're saying there's waste. There isn't waste when you've got, 400 and some research, research testing going on for cancer, but you'll just call it waste and act like you did something. When cancer starts going back up and you're sitting there, Miller Meeks is like, well, I don't know why they cut the funding to cancer research. Exactly. Last week, Miller Meeks said on the House floor that outrage over Musk's role in government was rooted in fear about exposing corruption. Once again, what corruption? You're saying there's tons of corruption. You're firing a bunch of people. You're cutting things like Meals on Wheels and research on cancer, but you haven't brought forth. I want to see Miller Meeks bring forth the evidence of the corruption in the cancer research side of things at the University of Iowa. Miller Meeks represents one of the most competitive districts in Congress, and she won re-election by less than 1,000 votes in November after a recount. She was elected in her first term to Congress in the 2020 election, where she defeated the Democratic opponent by 6 votes. You'd say to yourself, well, shit, she's out there torpedoing cancer research at her own base university in Iowa. And as a person that lived in Iowa twice, worked down there at radio stations in Iowa, University of Iowa is the golden child university down there. You would say to yourself, she's got no chance at re-election. I'll get back to that. Harry Entgen from CNN highlighted some ominous polling for Donald Trump over a month ago in his second term. Americans have soured on the taste of the state of the economy, and they don't see any signs that will improve. All I can say, compared to Trump's first term at this point, the reboot is not well received as the original. Economy is currently good or excellent. Look at this. April 2017, it was 40% where we're at. In February 2025, it's only 20%. The term one high was 63% for Americans in February of 2020, though. The February 2020, what happened right after that? Oh, that's right. This 20% we have currently going right now is the fewer Americans saying the economy is excellent and good than any other point during the Trump's first term. This is not a good sign. Do you know why only 20% of the country thinks Donald Trump's ideas are good anymore? Because the national news media. That's right. The national news media, who 5 months ago were sitting there saying, tariffs might be a really good idea to get the economy under control, are now saying, what idiot thought tariffs were a good idea? And they're doing so. And I want to talk about the disingenuous nature of the national news media, because they're not doing this now because they really actually think this way. This is Operation Save Reputation. It's Operation Save Reputation. They know that most of us think they're garbage. And so now that Trump's in office and they're going to do whatever they want, they've been given the green light to try to make it look like, see, we're reporting the news equally. Although the news they were reporting prior to the election was far different than the news that they're reporting now. They can now safely report things, and they're out there, the New York Times, the Washington Post, all these guys are out there with this, hey guys, we understand we might have taken a few twists and turns during the election season, but look at us back. We're going after these Republicans. We're holding them accountable. Bull crap. They are not. This is a game. For this reason, come June of next year, all of a sudden the same news outlet will say, well, did we really need to be spending all that money on cancer research? Miller Meeks was actually out in front. Or they'll just give Miller Meeks a complete wash. Miller Meeks, they'll be able to say to Miller Meeks, oh, even though she proudly boasted about going along with all of Trump's details and on the House floor said it was the best thing that we could ever do and was completely on board and voted for everything here, inside her heart, she had some questions. She's got the integrity that we need back in office. Seriously, that is what's going to happen. The national news media, when it matters most, will abandon neutrality and fairness and the truth to basically push that we cannot have these Republicans losing en masse. No, sir. So all of a sudden, pick your Republican House rep who's sitting out there right now going, I'm 100% with Donald Trump. Even though I voted completely with every piece of agenda item he wanted, I always had questions inside my heart. It is coming. And they will go there, and especially Iowa, where the news media in Iowa is so skewed to the right. And I can tell that by authority. They want to help the Republicans, and they will help the Republicans, and they will make excuses for the Republicans, and they will do re-imaging for the Republicans, and they will make sure that they cover up the fact that every bad thing that's happening to you due to Donald Trump and this complete clown car of administration really wasn't their fault. They're an independent voice. Ta-da! That's what I've always had some real concerns with what Trump was doing. Re-elect me, and I swear this time I'll hold him accountable. No, they won't. This next election cycle will be close because every news outlet that's trying to play born again news, trying to be born again legitimate, will abandon all of this the second they can as we get close to the election, and will demand that, well, I don't know what this Democrat who's running thinks they can do, but you got to talk about how plucky and spirited that Republican is. And I want you to be prepared for that, because this race, as much as these guys are about to screw up this country, because the national news media is bought and paid for, it will be close in 2026. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Eat Local Minnesota is a great way to find locally owned Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors. You'll find high-quality food and unique eating experiences with dishes from around the world. Just visit eatlocalminnesota.com for your next meal. Crooner's Supper Club offers a classic nightlife experience with 4-star food, drinks, and entertainment. Enjoy local, national, and international artists in the main stage, Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the Belvedere Under the Stars. Or relax at Maggie's Lounge. Find your perfect concert experience at croonersmn.com. Crooner's Supper Club, where old school charm meets modern nightlife. Cafe Latte combines a cafe dining experience with gourmet quality food. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Hi, this is Laura. Listen to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. or anytime via podcast. Our individual health is connected to the health of each other and connected to the health of the earth. We know the problems with the dominant food system: climate change, deadening soils, nitrates in the water, factory farming, injustice, concentration of wealth. How do we both as individuals and as a community step up and support a living food system which honors the earth? Tune to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and remember to support your independent farmers.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950 for Snap Construction again. Does your home feel colder than it should with the furnace constantly running? Or do certain rooms always feel colder than the rest of the house? Those are signs the attic in your home may need an insulation upgrade. Snap Construction can help by providing a free energy audit for your home's insulation. The average cost of getting new insulation can cost much less than a new furnace. Plus, Snap Construction is a BPI certified installer. That means if you use Snap for your next insulation project, you qualify for up to $650 in total rebates from your energy provider. After my free inspection, my insulation upgrade was completed within a few weeks and the rebate check was in the mail. Snap to it and reduce your heating bill this winter with Snap Construction. Call 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP for your free energy audit when you mention AM 950. Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed exterior contractor and insulation company in the metro.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Yeah, this is just the world we're going to have. I mean, that's the thing you have to be ready for. This is, by the way, one of the reasons why I tell people go to Blue Sky. Because, if you think you're still going to get a fair shake on Twitter, that's not going to happen. I'll give you a great example. I just broke the same amount of people I had on Twitter on Blue Sky. I now have, 5,600 followers on Blue Sky. That is more than I ever had on Twitter. On Threads, which I thought for a little bit might be a same kind of thing. After Zuck met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, that entire social media page has dropped back. And I mean, I was at 1,500 and I was picking up, 3 or 4 followers a day. I was getting posts that were getting 100 likes. And ever since Zuck went to Mar-a-Lago, I dropped down to 1,270 followers. So I've lost 200 some. And most of my posts, whatever the algorithm is, I'm no longer in it. And if I'm no longer in it, I'm going to guarantee most other Democrats are not in it as well. So just go to Blue Sky. And when the Twitter trolls who are desperate to get attention come to you and say, you're running away, why are you over here? Block. Block. Blue Sky is potentially going to be the savior, because that there is the ability to organize and coordinate through Blue Sky. And that's something that they lost with Twitter when Elon Musk bought it. So just FYI. And we'll need to organize. Why? Well, here you go. Republicans will begin voting in the House this week, a vast domestic policy agenda that could be huge cuts to Medicaid. Wow. A cornerstone of the nation's healthcare safety net to the tune of more than $800 billion over the coming decade. They want to cut Medicaid to give billionaires more money. It's that simple. That's what the GOP should be worried about. It's no mistake that Trump has himself expressed reservations about Medicaid cuts and is causing severe anxiety for the party's vulnerable lawmakers as Johnson moves forward with the budget written to placate his most conservative members. 2 of those vulnerable GOP members I spoke to over the weekend, this is from Politico, were ready to brush off the anti-Musk backlash. I'm all in on Dodge, says Representative Tony Gonzalez, the Republican from Texas, who on Sunday night argued that cutting the federal workforce is wildly popular with Republicans in his swingy district. Just ask some of the ones who got cut. I'm happy I got fired. And weirdly, a non-factor for everyone except hardcore Democrats. Oh, God. It's going to be so funny when it's like, why did my tax return take 9 months to get back? Yeah, that's right. another vulnerable member from a drastically different kind of district in another part of the country who was granted anonymity to speak candidly dismissed that week's protest as pearl clutching by the media and Democrats. But for both, however, Medicaid is a different story. That's where the battle's coming, said Gonzalez. There's no doubt there's waste, fraud, and abuse in every program in the government, including Medicaid, once again, have not proved there's any waste or fraud or abuse. They're just saying there is. And the national news media allowing that line to go in there every news story is a disservice. But at what point do you stop cutting into the fat and start cutting into the bone? You can't pull the rug out from millions of people. Gonzalez, who has large constituency enrolled in the program, who apparently are happy that all the people around the program, and including themselves, are getting fired, already co-authored a letter with 7 other House Republicans representing a large Hispanic population asking Johnson to rethink where the GOP is headed on Medicaid. He said he plans to personally confront the speaker about the issue in scheduled meeting tonight. Well, he'll come out with his tail between his legs and say, you know what? Everybody wants Medicaid cut. Recent history of grassroots political movement is instructive here. Major political reckonings are often triggered by Americans who are fearful of losing what they once had. Once again, that was a big part of 2018. They're doing this to give billionaires tax breaks. They're cutting and once again, we're talking about Medicaid. This is the healthcare system that helps out 80 million people in this country. 80 million. That's basically a quarter of the country. A quarter. And the story is to kill it completely. Of that 80 million, a lot of those people are disabled. They have physical disabilities, mental health disabilities. And this is their main protection from basically trying to find a street corner they can beg on. And they're doing this for one reason, not to pay down the deficit. Nope, not at all. They're doing this because they want to give tax breaks. And if you say, no, they're not that. Yeah, they are. We talked about this a few weeks ago. They basically, they say that they want to, as well as cut they want to cut $2 trillion in the budget, which would take the current amount down to somewhere around how much money we actually take in. But at the same time, they're calling for $4.5 trillion in tax cuts and an increase to the debt limit. So they're not cutting $2 trillion, they're adding $2.5 trillion to the deficit so that they can give billionaires tax breaks. And the only thing that's going to cost you is everything. And so whether it's Republicans who are in Texas or in Iowa or anonymous, whatever the case may be, they're voting to take away the needed services for the community and give it to the millionaires and billionaires, because their mentality is, well, you, the disabled, have had it too good for too long. We need to give billionaires more tax cuts. And we already know, and by the way, do not accept the Republican response to this. When they are confronted in a town hall meeting by people who have lost this, they're going to say, well, you should have lost your benefits. There was a lot of other people that should have lost theirs, but clearly not you. They're going to try to make it seem like they were on your side. They are not. They're using a chainsaw to cut a budget that like they are at some sort of Wall Street corporate retreat. And the reality is that's not what they've got out there. And by the way, once again, the guy wielding the chainsaw is a magnificent failure at business. Yeah. Chicago, Seattle, talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, hour 2 up next.
This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, weekdays at 5 p.m. On our show, you'll hear about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. Weekly correspondents like Dr. Stately, State Senator Mary Kunish, Robert Lilligren and Bob Blake update us with the latest news from Turtle Island. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Listen weekdays at 5 p.m. or watch the show on Native Roots Radio social media accounts. Ho-wah!
Whether you rent or own a home, we all likely have nightmare stories about home maintenance, or what I like to call home cringe moments. Join me, your host, Katie Shahan, for the Yarlow Home Cringe Show. See what home cringe-worthy stories we have for you each week as we talk with local home service pros. Learn best practices for winterizing your home or what to look for after a hailstorm. Listen to the Yarlow Home Cringe Show every Sunday at 2 p.m. or on your favorite podcast app.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast. You're listening to AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Mike Hempen. President Trump says he likes Elon Musk's demand that federal workers list what they have accomplished in the last week.
I thought it was great because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist.
The guidance led to a proliferation of varying advice for federal employees depending on where they work. Some were told to respond to the request for the 5 things they did last week by the end of Monday. Others were told it was optional, and still others were directed not to answer at all. Barely a week after mass firings at the Food and Drug Administration, some probationary staffers received some unexpected news over the weekend. The government wants them back. Grammy-winning singer Roberta Flack has died at age 88.
Singer Roberta Flack's hits like Killing Me Softly with His Song and The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face made her one of the top recording artists of the 1970s and an influential performer long after. She died Monday at 88 at home surrounded by family, says her publicist. The first The classically trained pianist won back-to-back Grammys for both songs in the 70s. A gospel fan as a child, she was so talented a piano player at age 15, she received a full scholarship to Howard University. In 2022, Flack announced she had ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and could no longer sing. I'm Julie Walker.
This is AP News. The AP's Lisa Dwyer reports on a new...
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fee supply requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit Straight.
Next time on Philosophy Talk, the philosophy of W.E.B. Du Bois.
Du Bois's brilliant book, The Souls of Black Folk, was a watershed in American culture.
Du Bois continues to influence the arts, sociology, and the philosophy of race to this very day.
W.E.B. Du Bois. Next time on a Vintage Philosophy Talk with John and Ken.
Catch Philosophy Talk every Sunday morning at 8 on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. That's Philosophy Talk, Sundays at 8 on AM 950.
Hi, my name is Kathy from Minnesota Recovery Connection.
And I'm Erin with Minnesota Recovery Connection.
We'd like you to listen to our show, Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution. It is on Saturdays at 10 a.m. on AM 950.
On the show, we discuss topics about addiction, understanding substance use disorder, the many pathways to recovery, and finding your personal journey.
Listen to Redefining Recovery Saturdays at 10 a.m. and find our podcast on your favorite app.
Hi, this is Ken Hageland, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, inviting you to listen to our live call-in talk show airing every Saturday from noon to 1, where we talk about your health and your life and provide insights you need to know to live and age well. Each week, we talk with guests who provide answers to important questions regarding healthcare, elder care, end-of-life care, and self-care for caregivers, and help you and your loved ones plan for the future and enjoy your highest quality of life today. Please join us every Saturday from noon to 1 on AM 950 for Living Healthy and Aging Well.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Sunshine today with a high of 53, then tonight partly cloudy with a low of 33. Discover the amazing roast beef sandwiches and so much more at Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville. Maverick's is located 1 mile south of Highway 36 on Lexington Avenue. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on Monday. Nice to have you with us. Matt and Patrick here. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I got out and hiked Bde-Makaska on Saturday, and that was very lovely. It was very light wind. It was actually really nice. Although a reminder, until it's all melted, which it might be by now, that it was only one trail around the lake. Do you know one of the worst places to hike is in spring is Harriet? Because you get on the south side of Harriet and there's that big hill. And so that the path there is one of the last ones to get cleared of snow and ice. That's a little tricky down there. But Bde-Makaska was in good form, did that. And then yesterday, I went down, we parked in St. Anthony, Maine, right by the Nicollet Island Inn, walked across the Cleveland Bridge there, went down a few blocks, went up to, I think it's 2nd, over to Central, across the bridge, down first to Hennepin, back across the Hennepin Bridge, and then we hiked up around on Nicollet Island, all those beautiful old homes that are up there on the north side of the island. Lovely. Can I say this? It was packed with people. Everywhere you went downtown, it was packed. People were out walking. The foot traffic on Hennepin Avenue was insane. And all the roads, I mean, there were some events going on. Some of the event centers were busy and stuff, but everywhere you went, it was packed. Once again, this is one of those weird things where this city is feeling like a city now, where, it really is remarkable how busy it is. You went out, you got the hockey tournament down south of us here. You went and got some of the good German food over in New Ulm. Did you get any time outside at all?
Not really, but I noticed what you were seeing in New Ulm. There were a lot of people out. It wasn't even that late. It was about 4:30. So it wasn't even prime bar evening time yet.
Yeah, it's remarkable. Now I want to bring this up because I don't know if you heard the first hour of the show, and I was talking about how things have changed. And the national news, the news media in this town, I just criticizing the national news media. I'm going to criticize the local news media. This is actually out of Axios Twin Cities. And this is a story about the somewhat interesting argument about tearing down City Center and building a brand new Timberwolves arena there. Although, as a guy that was just at the Timberwolves arena a few weeks ago when I went and watched a game over there, that's still a pretty nice facility. I don't know if we need to necessarily trash that one and build another one quite yet, but all right, whatever. Anyway, I think this is Nick Halter writing this one. The Rodriguez and Mark Lowe are serious about building a new basketball arena. Picking the high-profile site in the middle of downtown would be a huge win. The duo still needs approval from the NBA owners to take control of the T-Wolves. Once they do, they intend to build a privately financed arena to replace the league's second oldest venue, Target Center. The previous speculation on where to build the arena on the United FC and Viking stadiums before that was focused on the farmers market site on the fringe of the downtown, but with the real estate values plummeting in the core downtown, the new owners should take a look at the City Center complex. Located at 33 South 6th Street, City Center is a massive complex that includes Minneapolis' fourth tallest tower, plus a Marriott hotel and retail complex that stretches from Nicollet Mall to Hennepin Avenue. The arena here could have an entrance on Nicollet Mall and another on Hennepin, which would, okay, and here's I'm going to just say this. I'm going to say this. The arena would have an entrance on Nicollet Mall and another on Hennepin, which would bring much needed evening and weekend foot traffic to a downtown core that's long been too dependent on office workers. Okay. This, I want to beg the local news media to stop being lazy or just stop repeating Republican talking points. Because this whole thing, I mean, on Sunday, the entire downtown was packed. Maybe not Nicollet Mall, but North Loop was packed with people. And St. Anthony, Maine was packed with people. And Washington Avenue was packed with people. People walking on the sidewalk, people going to theaters, people going to shows. There is a ton of foot traffic in this town. You guys like to equate Nicollet Mall to the rest of the town. And I really am having a hard time with this because Nick is a pretty good journalist, but this is such a cliche. It's a trope now. This is all this is. You're right. Nicollet Mall is not as busy as it used to be. And if you really are ready for a shock, the Woolworths is gone too. Oh my God, not the Woolworths. Schindler's no longer even exists as a chain. Oh my God. Yeah, I can do that too. Now, I have been on Nicollet Mall when it's been pretty busy. I've been on Nicollet Mall when it's not been pretty busy. Cities change. Okay? Hennepin Avenue, I when I talk about I grew up in a specific time window, I grew up in a time when people did not go downtown really for much because it was considered too run down. I remember when they built Butler Square over in the warehouse district, remodeled that building, and they moved in over there, and how everyone thought, you're crazy. No one wants to be over here. And what happened? 20 years later, the warehouse district was the busiest place in the entire downtown. And although I would say the warehouse district is really busy still today, every time I go down there, I'm driving through that area, it is packed. And granted, it helps. You got Target Field and you got Target Center there. But it's probably down a little bit, which is kind of an interesting thing. And once again, I want to be careful here. It's not like it's empty. It just is from their rejuvenation peak. They are basically, it basically is probably down a little bit. It's probably just a little bit less than it was, but just a little bit. And I mean, and when it's it's Timberwolves game, or if it's a Twins game, it's not down at all. North Loop. You couldn't give away land up there. I remember when the Star Tribune moved up in that area, and I was like, why would you ever move up there? I remember they tried to build Mississippi Live to get anyone across the river because north of that by Kermancheks and Surdyk's and all that stuff, that people just didn't want to go up there. Now there's apartment complexes and tons of them and all these restaurants, and it's a lot of fun, and people are up there hiking and walking around. What are you talking about? Foot traffic in the downtown core. Are you just talking out Nicollet Mall? Because to make this trope real, you have to ignore everywhere else in the downtown that is now a lot busier just to make... No one's downtown, man. Yeah, they are. I go downtown a lot. Every time I go down there, it's packed. Maybe not Nicollet Mall, but as opposed to sit here and say the bellwether, the high watermark, the template, the limbo pole, whatever you want to say, has to be Nicollet Mall. You maybe have to understand we don't shop like we used to. Yes, it used to be stores from about 11th all the way up to 4th or so. But are you saying that the city should have I guess subsidize Macy's to stay. I mean, the city didn't close down Macy's downtown. Macy's closed down Macy's. And if it was a viable business model in 2010 to have a major department store in a downtown area, then another store would have rushed in there, and they didn't. And land developers took it over, and they rebuilt something else there. Same thing goes with every other business. I mean, Barnes & Noble down there used to be down there. It used to be great. And we used to go down there, and we used to hike the Skyway, and we'd go to the Barnes & Noble after coming out of the Crystal Court. And, yeah, we had a great time. But it's gone. What really did in the Nicollet Mall, or at least changed it, because I still think there's places down there. What did that in was Southdale. When Southdale opened up, that was the ticking time. There is a clock ticking at that moment that was going to doom Nicollet Mall. And when the Mall of America opened up, it really started ticking loudly. I know that there's this idea that they want to build, like a Bourbon Street where they have an open, pedestrian liquor area on Nicollet Mall. Fine. I'm not a big fan of that because I've seen what it brings with you. Urination and barfing in the street, public intoxication, crime, because there's easy targets. Yeah, fine. If you wanted, but you see, I'm not trying to get in the way of that because that's just the way things are going. But stop with this whole thing. It doesn't matter, Matt. It doesn't matter that the Northeast is vibrant and around stretches of Lake Street that were abandoned 30 years ago we're seeing thriving ethnic communities down there. And it doesn't matter that Uptown, although it's not where it was, is coming back. And it doesn't matter that the North Loop is now something. And it doesn't matter that the Cross the River is something. It doesn't matter that Washington Avenue is something again. It doesn't matter that you have the developments over by the University of Minnesota. It doesn't matter any of these things. It's only Nicollet Mall. Only Nicollet Mall. You guys need to freaking stop. Cities change. They ebb. They flow. And maybe Nicollet Mall will reinvent itself as a booze crawl. But the days, what do you think? Walgreens and Woolworths and JCPenney and Kmart, they're all going to come strolling back into the downtown? No. So stop acting like that's some sort of thing. Fetch ain't going to happen here. Stop with the lazy reporting, because what all you're doing is you're reiterating right-wing talking points about an abandoned, empty downtown. When I was there yesterday, clown car, there was tons of people. Every time I go down there are tons of people. What are you, locking yourself in a janitor's closet and say, I don't see anyone else in here? Clearly the downtown is empty. If you have to say, well, but Matt, not that place, and 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 not that place, but this one place at this specific time, God, the downtown's empty. What's wrong with you? And it's not just Halter here. This is something that you see repeated. You want to build the Target Center, a new Target Center over where City Center is now. Fine. It's a good location. Definitely will bring people downtown. But Nicollet Mall, even you yourself admit in this article that if Nicollet Mall is to come back as a primary destination place, it has to be dramatically different than it was. So stop sitting, because no one used to be in the North Loop. You could go buy a place over there for like $20, man. No one wanted to be there. No one wanted to be in the warehouse district. No one wanted to be across the river. No one wanted to be on Washington when it was all it was a bunch of freaking empty parking lots. I'm getting tired of people just hating on the city to hate on the city. Because this city kicks ass. And what I saw yesterday was amazing. A vibrant, alive, fun, exciting city of tons of people out hiking around. Tons of coffee shops where there people were out and about. Tons of people everywhere. And when I read these stories, like evening and a weekend foot traffic in the downtown core. Downtown core, the only thing you're talking about is Nicollet Mall. That's the only thing you're talking about. When was there ever a ton of foot traffic? I would make an argument right now on the east side of the downtown by the Viking Stadium. There's probably more foot traffic over there now than there has been in my entire lifetime. When the Metrodome was over there, sure, there was Runyons and stuff. They were over there, and there was the old Twins Hall of Fame thing, their baseball museum and stuff. But people didn't just go out and stroll around the streets. There are more people. It's not as much as some of these other areas. This is just, once again, it is all you are doing is taking, it's Nicollet Mall, and that if Nicollet Mall isn't looking like it did in 1975 with all the windows pretty and everyone shopping there, then the city has collapsed. You don't like the city, fine. Just don't go down there, but just stop with the lies. Because this is getting tired. And whether or not you just yourself never go downtown. Because once again, to make this argument work, well, Matt, I wasn't talking about that area or 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 that area. Just this 1 3-block stretch. Garbage. Empty. Downtown's empty. Just don't look down any of the side streets of the large, massive crowds everywhere else. Either you don't even go down there, or you're just taking right-wing talking points. Stop. Just come on. Stop. This is embarrassing. Brad is in Robbinsdale. Welcome into the show, Brad.
Yes. I don't know how many people remember, but going down to the Nicollet Mall and going to Moeller's Hobby Shop for your model train supplies, or the dozens of coin collector shops that were downtown. So I wonder how many people are going down there to patronize them now.
Well, we have the ones that are no longer there. Yeah, I don't know. Or, yeah, thank you very much, Brad. I appreciate it. There wasn't, they're just, the businesses are not, I mean, it used to be really kind of cool, but once again, Mall of America, man. You want to know what did in Nicollet Mall? It wasn't, sure, I guess COVID and people not going in there, and that kind of got rid of some of the Skyway stuff. But, a lot of this time when it feels like this whole argument is, well, once every 3 months, I go into the Skyway, and there was this one little restaurant that I used to like to go to, and they had like sticky buns, and I loved them, and it's not there anymore. The downtown's empty. Well, just go out to the suburbs. They got strip malls. You'll find what you need. Have a nice time. All right. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show on your Monday.
Returning Saturday, March 1st, right here on AM 950, and every Saturday, March through October, it's Garden Talk Radio from 7 to 8 a.m. It's the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show, topic focused, guests from across the country, and answering your garden questions. Submit your questions now to gardentalkradio@gmail.com or call anytime to 1-800-927-SHOW. That's every Saturday morning, March through October, from 7 to 8 a.m., right here on AM 950.
Spring and summer is the right time to install your fireplace. Find your perfect fireplace and have it installed and ready before the cold weather hits again. If you already have a wood fireplace, consider a fireplace insert or check out the entire selection at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces on East Franklin and Riverside in Minneapolis. It will transform your inefficient fireplace into a reliable, environmentally smart heating system.
This is Peter Solak, owner of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Have you ever watched your dog or cat curl up in front of a fire? It's primordial, the way it touches both the animal and the human. We know that fire reaches deep into the heart and soul. Let us show you how. We have over 35 working units on display here in Minneapolis. We are located at the east end of Riverside Avenue at 2901 East Franklin. From I-94, take the Riverside Avenue exit. Find us also online at woodlandstoves.com. Let us help you make a fireplace part of your life.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Hi, this is Paul Metza, host of the Wall of Power Radio Hour. We have been on the air on AM 950 for 10 years. We feature cool people from all walks of life in all 50 states. We've had musicians, politicians, actors, poets, people with great stories or a tale to tell. Tune in every Saturday night at 6 p.m. on AM 950, and podcasts are available on all streaming services.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Could have been a little less strange that night.
And I like Nick. Nick is a good journalist, man. It's hard to see a good journalist go down this trope hole, man. Trope hole. And okay, what you said, in Reno, there would be an entrance, Nicollet Mall and other Hennepin, which would bring much needed evening and weekend foot traffic to a downtown core that's long been too dependent on office workers. Well, Hennepin Avenue ain't necessarily abandoned at this point. So that is wrong. Nicollet Mall. What you could say is this. Here's how you write this. Although other parts of the downtown have shown resilience and robust foot traffic in the last few years, Nicollet Mall has lagged behind. So this would be a way to encourage growth on Nicollet Mall. Ta-da! By the way, I will say this. If you are for Target Center, moving over to where City Center is, I guarantee you Target Center does not want people walking up and down Nicollet Mall getting free, or not free, but cheap drinks and then coming into the stadium. So it's one or the other. If you want a pedestrian booze crawl on Nicollet Mall, well, that means you want Target Center to go someplace else, because Target Center will not want to have they'd lose too much retail in liquor sales. I mean, if you go down to New Orleans, the football stadium, the Silverdome, whatever it's the Jamba Juice for Reno, whatever the thing is now. That's nowhere near Bourbon Street. That is on the other side of the downtown. They specifically did not want Bourbon Street going over there. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of, trolleys and buses and streetcars that will take you right to there, but it's a different vibe. So it's one or the other. But that being said, Nicollet Mall, although the rest of the downtown has shown a robust and vibrant, foot traffic rise in the last few years, Nicollet Mall has struggled as it tries to reinvent itself. This would be a way to help it. Ta-da! I see journalism. Yeah, I mean, I'm a trained chimp, man. If I can do this, come on, man. Stop banging on my city. Especially stop banging on my city when it's not true. I'm not a fan of that. Or it's at best, it's grossly exaggerated to put a specific narrative. I talked on Friday about this. Dear Lord. I mean, we've got an epidemic in the state in regards to bad driving. A Moorhead man has been arrested in connection with criminal vehicular homicide by the Minnesota State Patrol, which suspects he was drunk when he caused a head-on collision that killed a Texas woman on Friday. According to the patrol, 28-year-old suspect was driving a Tundra in the wrong direction on Highway 75 near Moorhead around 7 p.m. when he collided head-on with a Jeep Compass driven by 43-year-old Jennifer Elizabeth Watson. Watson of Ennis, Texas, died at the scene. The Clay County jail records show the suspect remains in custody Monday morning after being arrested Saturday night in connection with an alcohol-related criminal vehicular homicide charge. Minnesota court records show the suspect was convicted of DWI in Clay County in 2019. They have not released the name of the individual. That's why they just refer to him as the suspect. 7 p.m., drunk as a skunk, driving down the Highway 7 on Friday. Wow. Whether it's people driving without a license, without insurance, or drunk as a skunk, if we do not start treating this more seriously, you're going to continue to have tragedies like this. It really is scary. One bit of news you can use for our fishing friends. The Minnesota DNR is reminding Minnesotans who still have fish houses on the ice to, you want to get that sucker off there. I don't know how much longer. It was 50 or something today. Yeah, you probably want to start thinking about this. Fish houses need to be removed from inland waters in the southern 2/3 of the state before midnight on March 3rd. Fish houses in northern Minnesota waters need to be removed by midnight on St. Patrick's Day, the 17th. The exceptions on the removal deadlines are Minnesota-Canadian border waters with a removal deadline of March 31st. Minnesota, South Dakota, and North Dakota have removal deadlines. The Minnesota, South Dakota, and Minnesota, North Dakota borders have removal deadlines of March 5th. Minnesota, Wisconsin border waters have a removal deadline of March 1st, and Minnesota, Iowa borders. If you don't have it off now, dear God, good luck with that. You can swim down to your fishing hole at that point. If shelters aren't removed by the deadline, owners may be prosecuted, and the DNR could confiscate and remove and destroy fish houses. We need to have an annual, you remember you walk in and you'll see someone will have like a big jar of jelly beans, and you have to guess the number of jelly beans. Guess the number of vehicles / fish houses that end in the lake in any given year in Minnesota. Because I'm going to guess 10 to 15 at least every year. And I'm not talking about like when we have ice flows that break apart the lower Red Lake and like 100 fishermen are taken out to sea. No, I'm not talking about that. And by the way, once again, thank you, Coast Guard, for saving all those people. But just cars and fish houses going through the ice. What's the over-under for this year? 20? I'll tell you what, I'll go with 15. Over under 15. Someone's going to get that deep clean. All right. And technically, if you pull it back up and there's a fish in the cabin, it's a keeper. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Monday.
Have some fun. This beat is sick. I want to take a ride on your disco stick.
Progressive change doesn't just happen. It takes dedication and a lot of hard work. 25 years ago, the Data Bank pioneered a new generation of software tools for progressive organizations here in Minnesota. Since then, thousands of organizations have used the Data Bank to create progressive change. Today, the Data Bank continues to help progressive organizations like AM 950. To have the Data Bank help your organization build capacity and create more change, text CHANGE to 612-540-0500 or go to thedatabank.com. The Data Bank, a quarter century of dedication and hard work for progressive organizations.
Coming up this Tuesday on The Gailey Show, voting and having as many registered voters as possible is our key defense to keeping our democracy. Sam Oliker-Friedland from the Institute for Responsive Government returns with new scorecard reporting on automatic voter registration and how well did Minnesota do. Plus, Christopher Brio from Outfront Minnesota joins me to discuss the situation happening in greater Minnesota. So join us Tuesday live at 2 p.m. or stream us on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Blue Sky for all the news and updates. We're at thegaileyshow.org on Blue Sky.
Hey, it's Patrick. February is the month for love, so when was the last time you gave your carpet the love and attention it deserves? Have you gotten down on your hands and knees and adored how clean and refreshed it was, or are you scared of what you might see or smell? Not only is your carpet one of the biggest investments in your home, but it's also the biggest air filter in your home. If your carpet hasn't been professionally cleaned, you are breathing unhealthy levels of nasty dirt, dander, bacteria, and germs that keep recirculating again and again and again. If you've put off having your carpets cleaned after the holidays, Zero Res has the deal for you right now. 3 rooms starting at just $109. This flash sale will only last a limited time. That's 3 rooms starting at $109 right now. One more time, that's 3 rooms starting at $109, but you need to call now because this deal won't last long. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Back order forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 32. Tuesday, sunshine with a high of 46. Then Tuesday night, rain possible with a low of 35. Discover the amazing roast beef sandwiches and so much more at Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville. Maverick's is located 1 mile south of Highway 36 on Lexington Avenue. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I want to point out the difference between a sitting politician who has to run for re-election and does not have to run for re-election. And it's a story most of you have already heard, but I'm going to give Tina Smith a lot of credit here because, you know, it's funny when you all of a sudden don't have the restrictions that you have where you have to put forward the game face on this stuff and you can just let things fly, let the reality go. Senator Tina Smith has some choice words for Elon Musk about his instruction to federal employees Saturday that demanded they summarize their accomplishments in the last week or risk losing their jobs. This is the ultimate D-boss move. I've edited it a little bit. This is the ultimate D-boss move from Musk, except he isn't even the boss. He's just a D. Oh, God. That's the Minnesota Senator writing on Saturday evening on Twitter that Musk's on. If I can once again make this point, what is any Democrat still doing on Twitter? Seriously, what are you doing over there? You're only giving validity to him to be there. Go to Blue Sky. Seriously, go to Blue Sky. And I know Tina Smith is on Blue Sky. And maybe she posted this very directly over there just so that he'd make sure he see it. And he did. I'll get to that here in a sec. But no, if you're a Democrat, if you're on Twitter, all you're doing is giving credence to Musk, and you shouldn't be doing that. It's not coming back. Yes, for a lot of people, that was a lot of followers that they had, but they're gone. And you need to move on. Smith's fiery message came hours after Musk, who has sought to slash the size of federal workforce as leader of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, announced a new policy on Twitter mandating government workers enumerate their achievements via email by Monday night or to keep their jobs. By the way, funny story. Did you hear Trump in the news at the top of the hour there talking about, did they even show up at work? I love how the vilification, you immediately say that none of them showed up for work and that's why you're doing this. No, they showed up for work. By the way, what if you're on vacation or you're on sick leave or you're on, you've given birth and you don't, are you basically quitting because you said I'm out of the office because I gave birth to a child? I know that they'll say that you quit, but yeah. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation, Musk described on Twitter. Hours later, the U.S. Office of Personnel Management followed through on Musk's post, sending thousands of federal workers an email mandating they provide approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week and CC your manager. Musk said Sunday on X that the office had already received a large number of good responses. Who's reading all of them? Seriously, if you're not hiring people, who's reading all of these? This is performance theater. No one is reading the hundreds of thousands of emails that are coming in on this. No one's reading them. No one's reading them. This is just basically performance theater. Of the people who should be considered promotion, these are the people who should be considered promotion, he wrote. Smith, however, linked Musk move to a bad boss. I bet a lot of people have had experience with this, like bad boss. There's an email in your inbox on Saturday night saying, prove to me you're worthless worthiness by Monday or else, Smith wrote. Yeah, and that has happened. That has happened in this town with some of the corporate bosses out there. Smith wrote this, adding with an expletive that she's on the side of the workers, not billionaire bosses. Her statement prompted a terse response from Musk. What did you get done last week? The senior advisor for President Donald Trump asked Smith in a reply that has racked up 36,000 likes. Smith counted on it, continued to exchange the Sunday morning, telling Musk she spent the week prior fighting to stop tax breaks for billionaires like you, paid for by defunding health care for moms and babies. I hate to break it to you, but you aren't my boss, Smith wrote. I answer to the people of Minnesota. Smith wasn't the only leader to clap back on Musk. Everett Kelly, the president of Union Labor representing hundreds of thousands of government workers, said the move was indicative of Musk and Trump's utter disdain for federal employees and the critical services they provide to the American people. The Minnesota senator, meanwhile, doubled down on her criticism on Musk in a statement on the Minnesota Star-Trib. Musk is an unelected, out-of-touch billionaire who's attempting to intimidate and threaten federal workers, she said, adding that she will continue to call him out. I should be noting, and I talked about this a long time ago. I was so bothered years and years ago when I bought for my good friend Dermot Flanagan, who hopefully we'll be talking to in a few weeks for St. Patrick's Day. Because we have him on. He's in Ireland. He's a lawyer in Ireland. He's a dear friend of mine, and we've had him on every year to talk about St. Patrick's Day. And I have a feeling he has a few words to tell the American people this time around. He got married to a beautiful woman named Helen, and they're wonderful, and they got 3 kids. And at their wedding, I had sent them a gorgeous hand-blown glass platter that was pretty expensive. And I remember at the time it was, my wife and I were just starting out, and we were, trying to watch our budget. It was pricier than I wanted to, and I got it wrapped correctly and all these things. And I sent it to Ireland. Now, at this point, the Irish government, for some inexplicable reason, spun off the Irish Post to a private company. And I'm probably not explaining it correctly, but that's what basically happened. And the chaos that ensued with mail delivery afterwards was astounding. There are times they were saying that half of the letters and packages that were mailed in certain weeks did not get to their addresses. Think about that. Half the mail. Same thing. This is kind of the same thing that they're doing here. They're like, oh, what's going to be the big deal? We'll run it as a business. And it was a disaster. Years later, they are still, I don't know when the last time they found any of these, but they found train cars years later, just had been abandoned out in a rail yard that were full to the rim with mail. And the first thing I said when I read that story was, well, is there a package to Dermot in there? Because it's been a few years, but I would still like him to get that. There is this false idea that you can do something better than the federal government. And we have seen time and time and time again that it does not happen. And these cuts that they're making are, once again, not about efficiency. This is not about efficiency. If you think this is about efficiency, you are a dumbass. And I'll say it. This is about freeing up the money to give millionaires and billionaires bigger tax breaks. That's all this is about. That's all this is about. This is a heist. This is a heist. And so they're going to cut Medicaid, and they're going to cut studies to find cures for cancer, and they're going to cut everything they can and give that money to the billionaires and millionaires. That's all they're doing. That's a real D-boss move. I'm with Tina Smith on this one. I am with Tina Smith on this one. And it is, once again, it's unfortunate that this is a society that we can't label what this is fairly until you basically are not running for office anymore. Because now it's, she's calling it out, and she's calling it out fair, but it's not going to get a lot of response because, basically they don't care. She's going to be gone. It doesn't matter. And so that's the case. I agree wholeheartedly with you, Senator. I think that this is the right tone you have to take. And if we don't start fighting back, I wish there were more people in Congress that had the guts that you do, that you have. I wish they had those guts. But unfortunately, we have a lot of Democrats right now who we need to be working with them to cut Medicaid the right way. Shut up and get out of the way. You're the problem. You're not the solution. That being said, I want to talk a little bit about this very interesting statement. Representative Pete Stubby Stauber will not run for the state's governorship or the open U.S. Senate seat next year. A spokesperson for the Hermantown Republicans' congressional office confirmed those plans to the News Tribune on Thursday, a day after Stauber first publicly ruled out either possibility in an interview with Northern News Now. In November, Stauber was reelected for a fourth term representing northeastern Minnesota's 8th. There has long been speculation within political circles that he could seek a higher office, particularly if he has been a vocal critic of DFL Governor Tim Walz. The incumbent still faces a decision on whether he will seek a rare third term as the state governor after an unsuccessful bid for vice president. The unexpected announcement last week came after another Democrat, U.S. Senator Tina Smith, has added to another layer of intrigue in the 2026 midterms election. So far, only Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan has announced officially she's going to campaign to succeed her on the DFL ticket. Royce White, though, Royce White is definitively, you can't say it. Royce White has said he's going to run. And once again, I don't know how, looking at the primary process in the Republicans, I think Royce White is definitely the front runner for the Republican Party. I find this very interesting. Now, let's step back and talk about Stubby for a second. He has basically sold out the 8th congressional district and Minnesota for foreign mining interests. His whole goal right now is to rip apart the Boundary Waters Canoe area, Voyageurs National Park, anything up there that's pristine wilderness, and give it to a foreign mining company to destroy. My guess is that he and his family will have jobs within mining lobbying for decades to come. That would be my guess. And of course, once again, I've explained that, he's already practicing his earnest face, like, oh my God, I can't believe they polluted up here. Gee willikers, they lied to me. Well, I guess the taxpayers will have to clean it up, but I'm going to go work for the lobbying side of this. That's Pete Stauber. That is Pete Stauber. So if you're Pete Stauber, and there has been a substantial road bump to handing over northern Minnesota to a foreign mining company to rip apart and destroy. That has been the Democratic governors that you have had in place who have basically stopped this from happening. And regardless of whether or not you think Trump can order the state to open up an area, it's not that simple. You're just not going to be able to do that. And even if you pass this bill that he wants to pass and it gets signed, there's going to be immediate lawsuits that are going to tie this up in court. And your best chance at this may be before Trump leaves office, if the guy ever does. So if you're Stauber and you want this to go through, something that would readily make this happen quicker was if you would be maybe not the senator, but the governor. The fact that he has bailed on that race already tells me a lot about how he thinks the next 2 years are going to go. And whether or not he feels if the Republicans will have a chance at anything in 2026. Now, once again, I'm going to go back to what I said in the first hour. The national news media is going to do everything in their power to it. When it comes to June of next year, all this, we're really holding the Republicans' feet to the fire now, is all of a sudden going to, don't you love those Republicans' plucky spirit? And these Democrats, why are they even running? That's going to be them starting June of next year. That's going to be what it is. They are, when it comes to elections, they're going to be biased. And then they're going to try to spend the rest of the time telling us, we're not biased. We had equal coverage. Before the election, we thought Trump was great. And now, long after the election, we've said he's bad. See? Equal. Yeah, exactly. The fact that he is bailing on this race. Now, it could just simply be he knows that there's not been a candidate. Okay, he is probably the best candidate to win a statewide race. I mean, and I'm not saying he would win. I think the Republicans will get trounced this next election cycle. I think they'll absolutely get trounced this next election cycle. As long as you don't buy the national news media. But if he's their best case and he's like, no, I don't want anything to do with this. And even the glitz and glamour of the Senate seat has got him to say, no. I think he knows, he's already seeing that this is going to be, when they get done with gutting Medicaid and Medicare, when they get done with this halving of government services and giving all the money to the millionaires and billionaires, and then in 2 years saying, well, now we have to raise the deficit because we don't have any money anymore because we gave it in tax breaks, but we can't not undo the tax breaks, so we have to kill every other program now. I think he's realizing that that's not going to sell. So I think that Tina Smith's seat's open. I don't know how open it is. And I know Tafoya is interesting. She's trying already to lay out this, I'm a proud Republican, while at the same time saying, I'm not really on board with Trump. Now, part of your problem, and I'm going to be honest with you, you're a woman, you are a minority, your party is not going to, to embrace those characteristics as much. I mean, Royce White is a guy with Bannon's endorsement and, really from that MAGA vein. You go in with, you already got, once again, you're a party that's a misogynist. They're not exactly big on women. And I'm sure you'll pull out every ESPN friend or sports friend you can to kind of try to come help you here. Get ready to see Kurt Schilling show up in Minnesota. But if you once again, the Republican Party comes down to you basically being the most MAGA guy or woman possible, and then basically saying, you remember when I said I was MAGA? Not really. I have lots of problems with Trump. I don't think that's going to go over too well. I don't know what the DFL is doing, but I'd already be starting to run campaigns against these people because right now they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable and they're not ready for you to start going on the attack, which means you probably should start going on the attack. But hey, maybe you'll Merrick Garland it or something. I don't know. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Wrap up the show when we come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show on your Monday.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
I love the Toyota Sienna Hybrid from Rudy Luther Toyota. Safe, roomy, comfortable, and insanely fuel efficient. One thing I haven't mentioned is how good the Sienna is at winter driving. We just had a snowstorm, and my Sienna handled the ice and snow no problem. From getting through the plow pile at the end of the driveway to safely navigating the snow-covered highways, the Sienna is designed to give you a comfortable, safe drive. When winter weather hits, I give myself extra time, but with Sienna's handling and heated seats, extra time is great. Test drive a Sienna today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Are you experiencing troubles with thinking, comprehending, or speaking, have post-COVID brain fog, ADHD, concussion, tremors from Parkinson's, mental health issues, or simply striving to maximize your brain's potential? At Hypercharge Wellness Centers, we deliver transformative results for the brain. Hypercharge Wellness's brain fitness protocol utilizes cutting-edge modalities, including PEMF, red light therapy beds, and transcranial laser, which all work together to improve focus and cognitive functions. These treatments aim to improve the brain's blood flow and electrical patterns, which reduces anxiety and enhances relaxation, providing a comprehensive approach to brain health optimization. All are invited to experience this life-changing journey towards achieving the pinnacle of cognitive and emotional well-being. Call or go online to schedule your free Hypercharge Wellness introductory session valued at $200 today. This is your opportunity to feel the difference for yourself. No matter where you are in the Twin Cities, there is a convenient location near you. Visit hyperchargeclinic.com now. That's hyperchargeclinic.com. Hypercharge is hope.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm going to end you with a story which is ugly in 1,000 different ways. And I just, okay. 2 women met a Twin Cities man for a sexual rendezvous at a Maple Grove hotel room where they stole his jewelry and bank cards after he suffered a fatal drug overdose. Marquisha Simone Lindsay Mullins, 29 of St. Paul, stands charged in Hennepin County District Court with third-degree murder, felony theft in connection with the death of 42-year-old Zachary Mulder of Maple Grove in September at the Cambria Suites. Hennepin County medical examiner ruled that Mulder died from a mixture of fentanyl and alcohol. Lindsay Mullins remains in jail in lieu of $500,000 bail ahead of the March 14th court appearance. Her co-defendants have also been charged with felonies. Ashian Ariel Lene Goldsby, 27 of Brooklyn Park, with theft. 30-year-old Damon Sental Smith of Minneapolis with bank card fraud and theft. Mulder's death occurred 2 weeks after his wife gave birth to a girl, according to an online fundraising campaign on behalf of his family. He was the father of 4 daughters and 4 stepchildren, loved the Minnesota Vikings, the outdoors, and found his career in North Dakota oil fields. Yeah. According to the charges and related court documents. Police responded to a request for a welfare check on September 18th, went to a Cambria Suites hotel where they found Mulder dead on his bed. His clothes, cell phone, and wallet with 5 bank cards were in the room. His wife told police she believed it would have been many more. Mulder's wife added that her husband went to the hotel while intoxicated the previous day after they had a fight. She received a notification early in the morning that he made a $300 ATM withdrawal. Police learned through interviews with the hotel staff from video surveillance that Mulder went to the bar there late September 17th. He had 2 drinks and appeared engaged with his phone most of the time. Shortly after 1:20 a.m., Mulder and 2 women identified as Lindsay Mullins and Goldsby entered his hotel room. The woman left about 25 minutes later, wrapped in white towels. They walked quickly and were giggling, the complaint said. Minutes later, they left in a vehicle. After her arrest in January, Goldsby told police that neither she nor Lindsay Mullins called 911 or alerted hotel staff of Mulder being in distress. Lindsay Mullins and Goldsby both have been sexually oriented ads that list their rate for $300 per hour, the same amount that Mulder withdrew. So he has a fight with his wife 2 weeks after she gave birth, and then he hires some prostitutes for $300 in a hotel room. Yeah. Mulder's wife told police that attempts were made to use his bank cards at the Heritage Estate Jewelry at the Mall of America by a man later identified as Smith. She also saw a transaction at other stores at the mega mall that police attributed to Smith. The police tally of actual or attempted transactions with Mulder's bank cards totaled more than $76,000, with nearly all of them occurring at the jewelry store. Police also learned that Smith pawned a Gucci chain necklace and a gold ring with diamonds at Maxit Pawn in Minneapolis. They appeared to match that Mulder had been wearing. The necklace fetched $700, the ring $150. Wow. Ring with gold ring with diamonds for $150 off a dead body. About 6 days later, Lindsay Mullins and Smith were spotted in Plymouth in a car. Smith had one of Mulder's bank cards and a $1,800 watch. Police found the vehicle 3 more of Mulder's bank cards, a receipt from the Mall of America, and suspected meth and fentanyl. Smith said she brought the watch and bank card from a homeless man. Police seized Lindsay Mullins' phone, saw photos of Mulder's wallet, identification, and bank cards. The images were timestamped to 6 minutes before Lindsay Mullins and Goldsby left his hotel room. On January 10th, the woman came to police and recounted what she had. Goldsby told her that Lindsay Mullins put a piece of paper in Mulder's face, and moments later, he was on a back and changing colors. After trying to revive him, Lindsay Mullins and Goldsby took off with his jewelry and stuff. Yeah, they're going to go to jail. They need to go to jail for a long time. Yeah, I feel sorry for the family because that's 1,000 pounds of ugly in 1,000 different ways, man. Let's just put it that way. Native Roots Radio is up next. Have a good weekend. We are good the rest of the day. We'll be back tomorrow. Till then, see ya.